season was backed up a little bit, so we've never started this early. You are so far away from a game, but still like it's forever. You're almost 2 months from a game that matters, really matters. That's a long ways out. And yet here you are, in part because of the great Hoff going in. Well, entirely because of the great Hoff going in.
It's his fault.
It's his fault. So because he's going into Canton, we're starting really early. So just to wrap your head around this, kids, quarterbacks and rookies are Wednesday this week. Veterans are Friday. Training camp practice number 1 is Saturday. That's
at the Greenbrier.
So that's this Saturday. This whole operation will be there because you're leaving Friday.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yellowstone and I pull out on Friday. Convoy.
That's right.
What could go wrong?
Nothing. Zero.
Exactly.
Did you guys get the ride that you wanted?
We'll know tomorrow.
Okay. What do you got? You get a Ram crew cab there, Stones? No? None of that? Get yourself a trailer.
Don't make eye contact with them.
Get himself a trailer. You get a little sleeper trailer. That would work. Little sleeper trailer. Pull the behind the Ram pulls it. The dually Ram.
Done.
Yeah, I think that's a win. That's very much a win. But yeah, it's here. It's crazy. I almost am running 2 parallel thought processes. Like on one line is the notion that Wednesday Deshaun Watson will be here and it's go time.
I can tell you QB1's here today.
There you go. Well, he has to report Wednesday.
There you go.
So he's in the building now. Our coaches are here, so that's go time. And then the other thing, it's like I don't want to fast forward summer too much because we are a long ways from football that matters. Summer is essentially, for our intents and purposes, over. But in terms of we still have a long way to go to get to the game. So it's kind of this is a weird week. It's all real. It got real in a hurry. But we're a long ways from games.
Yeah. There was a reason why we had Friday off.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need to have a little bit of enjoyment. Yeah. And it's not to say that things won't be enjoyable here or exciting, but there is a part of you that's like, summer's over.
Yeah, it is.
You're going to get, for us, it's maybe one day off a week.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be, you're locked in. And it's,
yeah.
This is going to be such an interesting season for this franchise. This is without question the most pressure and I think you have to acknowledge it, and I think they will, that this is the most pressure this operation has been under.
Yes.
It's go time. It's the best roster. Somebody asked me this. Actually, my neighbor just was over last night, and we were talking. He's like, so, what about this Browns team? Like, same as always? And I'm like, no, I really think it's the most talented roster they've had since the 60s, like top to bottom. Like, it's just Deshaun goes. If Deshaun goes, then the whole operation goes. There's no holes on the roster.
None.
There's not really anything that you look at and go, I wish we were a little better here. A piece. You don't really need any pieces. Like, it's all fully formed. Will there be a veteran D tackle at some point? Maybe. Who knows? Could there be a veteran pass-catching running back? Maybe. Who knows? But you don't need any of those things. You just need to have everyone play to their talent and their potential. And if you do, then you're going to be in the mix in an absolutely brutal AFC.
Yeah. We've talked about it ad nauseum. The top to bottom, best roster.
It is.
There's no question in the 11 years I've done this, there's no question, hands down. And you could say, well, there was a lot more star power. I don't know about that.
No, there wasn't.
I don't think that's the case. And
no.
It comes down to QB1, and you don't want to put all the pressure on him, but I think he would tell you, if I don't play well, then we're going to be in trouble.
I think it's in the brochure.
Yeah.
If you're what Deshaun Watson is, like, it's in the brochure that it's go time.
Yeah.
That's it. So that will be kind of the thing about that's going to be this thing that's hovering over all of camp and that's the one when I say, like, we don't play a game that matters until September. That's what I'm saying, because you're not going to get a full judge of that till then. Honestly, we're going to learn in terms of the first-team players. We will learn more in Philly than at any point in the next month and a half. Philly, you'll know if you've got something or not. You've been part of those joint practices before.
Yep.
If you've got a team, then it shows up in those joint practices, and if you don't, you can be embarrassed pretty quickly.
It becomes a very long week.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I think. But even next week, it's training camp and it's at the Greenbrier, and I know some fans are disappointed there aren't more practices here, but the practices that would be open if we were here, it's a lot of install. Don't forget the first 5 practices are the league's ramp-up period.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to see a whole lot until next Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, in terms of real pads, isn't it like the day that
I think Friday's the first day they could
so we'll have
be in pads.
One day that you guys will be down there that has padded. Other than that, it'll be the install stuff primarily.
Yeah, there might be 2 days of pads.
A couple.
Yeah, they might go 2. But it's a lot of installation and just getting everybody back up to speed, getting the conditioning up, and you hope that from June 8th when camp broke a little over a month ago to now, guys have stayed in shape and are ready to hit the ground running. I
think so. There's not enough time hardly to go out of shape. It's been they were just here and now they're coming back. I also think, for the fans, and I understand the disappointment of not wanting to. We have the best fans, and they show up in droves for training camp practice, so I understand if there is some disappointment out there. I would just say this. Because you're getting the extra week of practice, you're not missing much, to your point. And the other thing is this was Coach Stefanski. I feel like I asked him about this, but I didn't want to say when I did the interview at the undisclosed location. This was about survival for him. What I mean by that is to be here from July 19th until camp is over, 5 weeks, whatever it is, it's draining. You need a change of scenery.
Yep.
You need a refresher. You need a breath of fresh air. I think what he's trying to do at the Greenbrier is break this thing up a little bit. It allows for him to go down there, do the install. It'll be totally private. There'll be, you'll be totally left alone, no distraction, everybody laser focused. And then you come back, and it's almost refreshing to come home and be back here. I'm guessing that's why he did it. And I think hopefully you can understand that from the perspective of just leadership, just trying to keep things fresh.
And I would also say this for the fans, I know training camp tickets are now available. The practices that they've opened up are later in camp.
Correct.
Which is better because then you're really going to see what this team is starting to become. Like when we come back from Philly, I want to say there's 4 or 5 practices.
Yeah.
You're going to get a real good look at what this team's going to be. There won't be any ramp up. At that point, you are full go. And you're getting ready for Kansas City, which I would have to assume, and I could be wrong, but I would have to assume that Kansas City is going to be the dress rehearsal game because you're not going to play a lot of the starters in the Philly game after going hard at joint practices for 2 days.
It's a very good point.
That's what they did last year I'm going off of what they did last year.
Sure.
In Philly, the Philly week last year, the starters played, the second strings played on the 2 days of joint practices. After that, the game itself was more like an early preseason game. Everybody kind of got a little respite from the entire week. So I would assume that the Kansas City game will be, and then you have a week off in between Kansas City and the start of the regular season.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, you understand it, and it makes sense, and I do think that what they've opened up will be entertaining for our fans. What were you into this weekend? Did you watch any of this? There was a lot going on, but it was all kind of secondary sports stuff. I mean, the baseball went bad, but other than that, there was a ton of greatness over the course of this weekend.
You know what? I was not near a TV this weekend.
It's a win for you.
I can tell you, the wife gave me a hall pass Friday.
All right.
And what I mean by that is I was invited to play the prestigious Catawba Inn Club on Friday.
CIC.
I played CIC on Friday.
That's tight, huh?
Boy, is it. Boy, there were a couple holes I gave away some souvenirs.
Yeah, it's tight. It's really tight. But those greens are usually pristine. I haven't played there yet this year.
Course was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it was parred the first hole, and I was feeling pretty good, and kind of went downhill, got it back.
Yeah.
Respectable. Right around 50 on both rounds.
There you go.
Both nines. In the 40s on the back nine.
There you go.
There are some holes that are pretty challenging.
It's not even a dog leg. It's on the front nine. I want to say it's 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where, like, if you hit it too far, it goes wet. So you kind of got to hit a 3-wood, and then you got to hit it. It's almost like a boomerang.
It's got to stay on the right side because
Yeah.
there's a lake on the left. There's sand on the right, but you'd rather be there than.
Yeah. So there's the par 4 that you come back, and then the par 3 after it with, like, that's a mound.
Yeah.
And then it's gone.
Bogeyed that one. Felt
Yeah.
good about that. Felt good about
really
the
nice.
first shot on that par 5 boomerang. Second shot just kind of drifted and kept rolling and rolled right into the drink. And
Shame.
from there,
Shame.
And
then the
throwing
next,
up a snowman on that one.
So is that like, I want to say that's like 5 and 6.
Yes, and then seven's
a monster.
It's 500 plus.
Yeah, it's a monster.
So I had every intention of just hey, grab some lunch at the clubhouse. We teed off about 9 a.m. Bunch
Nice.
of guys from the Hooligans Golf League. We were dignified and didn't get our guy banned, which
There
is
you go.
great. The great Larry.
Nice view there. If you grab a snack, you like that view.
And it was a perfect day weather-wise.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, grab some lunch. I might have a drink, and I'll work my way home.
Yeah.
Yep. 2 hours later, I was at Put in Bay.
Oh, God. Good God.
Yep.
Like that poor woman that was at Put in Bay a couple of weeks ago with the kid throwing cans. How do you end up at Put in Bay, Gibby? I guess you catch the ferry at the end of Catawba and you can zip right over there.
I was on a boat.
Okay, boated over.
Yeah, boated over. My brother-in-law and some of his friends were over there. I guess one of the guys in our golf league is getting married in a month, and his girlfriend, his fiance's bachelorette party was over at Geneva on the Lake.
Okay.
Well, all the wives were at Geneva on the Lake.
The
boys decided they'd come up to Put in Bay. My brother-in-law's like, hey, you're up here. Why don't you swing on over?
Sure.
Next thing you know, I was sleeping on a floor.
Oh, God.
And
you went all the way back.
Saturday was a Saturday morning, a rough drive home. And Saturday midday was rough. But the wife was like, go enjoy. She's like, I know it's your last weekend.
Yeah, live.
Go enjoy. Go
live
live
a little.
What about you?
We were around here. We did play golf with the two, the middle and the youngest on Friday.
Nice.
Played as well as I hit it as well as I've hit it, and then like on 17 was our last hole. I put it in the drink and it just wrecked everything. So that's pretty par for my golf game. I ended up watching quite a bit of stuff. Like there was some crazy stuff. Did you see? There were several things like in kind of sports we don't pay attention to closely. The Sabrina Ionescu, the guard for one of the WNBA teams. Did you see her 3-point contest?
Yeah.
She missed 2 shots in the whole thing. She got 37 out of 40 points. Probably the best shooting performance in something like that I've ever seen. And quite frankly, anybody's ever seen. I've never seen anybody shoot it like that.
Not at the
crazy.
male level or the female
It's never
level.
been done. Steph hitting a hole-in-one at Tahoe and then winning it with an eagle putt was crazy. I loved the Scottish Open finish on Sunday.
I did. I watched that.
Bobby McIntyre with the shot of shots on 18 to feels like he's going to win it at the Scottish Open. Then Rory maybe trumps him with his shot and then finally made a putt to win that. That was really cool.
I still have no faith in Rory winning anything this week.
Well,
at the
he won't
Open
win the
Championship.
Open now because I think he won the Scottish Open.
Yep.
So that he used all the good mojo there.
Yep.
So that I watched that. That was pretty cool. I watched quite a bit of Wimbledon, and I'm not a tennis guy, but I have been hearing about
Our intern Stevie put it in the rundown. I told him take it out. I'm like, yeah.
We're not, I watched over 3 hours of it. So I think what it is though is it's like all of the little things that I've mentioned, like it's greatness. So the last time I watched the tennis was probably Nadal and Federer at Wimbledon a decade ago. Like I haven't watched any of it. But I've been hearing about this Alcaraz kid that he was like the equivalent, like he's on that level.
He can bring tennis back.
So, yeah. And so, like, this was him against Djokovic, and it was great. Incredible theater. I mean, he was down. Djokovic wins the first set 6-1, and you're like, kid, you're not ready for the stage. And then he battled. And we had a birthday party and ended up watching. It was on kind of the whole time and watched a lot of it and found it to be very, very entertaining. Had a big moment on Saturday night. We had a little bit of rain here in the area.
Yes, we did.
And so I grabbed 11-year-old NBC and I said, it's time. Let's do it. Rated R movie. Let's go.
I thought I saw something on the social media about this.
Yeah. So we settled on Die Hard.
The original.
That's right. It was the correct choice. It's the first time I'd seen Die Hard in like start to finish like that in probably 20 years. Like if it's on, I'll jump in, see where we're at, watch a little bit, but like to purposely seek it out, start it, finish it. So he was excited, all jacked up to watch it. It sets the tone right away where the plane lands and we're off and away we go. He was a big fan of Ellis early. He was a big Ellis guy. That
ends badly.
That ended poorly for Ellis. Ellis was living a great life early on. He was a big Argyle. He thought Argyle was quite funny. The limo driver, he enjoyed him a great deal. I came away like feeling pretty confident that Hans Gruber was the best bad guy ever. I don't even really know. I don't know what second would be. I think he changed the game in every way. And I think Willis changed the game in every way because he's like just a regular dude. Up until that point, for the kids out there, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, just muscle-bound, big, burly guys. Like
men of consequence.
Yeah. Willis just looked like, quite frankly, what he was, a New York cop. Like that's what he looked like.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely amazing.
Unedited, huh?
Oh, yeah, we did it. I mean, that was the whole idea was I get to watch an R-rated movie.
Where were the boys? Where were the other two?
They were upstairs watching something upstairs. So we were in the basement watching it. Ellis does get a little frisky early on with several things. So there's a little bit of that. It's interesting. We are so programmed, I find, to – and I was like this when I was a kid too. Like my parents would like cover my eyes for the nudity but then let me see all the gore and violence. And I found myself doing the same thing, and I don't know that makes any stinking sense.
No.
Probably not.
No.
But I was like, oh, no, you can't see that. But, yeah, you can watch what's going to happen to Hans and the rest of these boys. And then at the end, I swear to God, he said it. So Let It Snow plays at the end. And he goes, Dad, was this a Christmas movie? And I went, God, son, you're ready for sports talk radio. You just did it. That's July.
Welcome to July.
Welcome. You just did it. It's unbelievable that you dropped that. Is this a Christmas movie? Then I had somebody on social say, there's really no difference between Home Alone and Die Hard. Wet Bandits, Hans, infiltrating their place.
On a
holiday.
holiday.
The best, on a holiday. There was a lot of similarities to it. So he loved it. Afterwards, he loved it. He rated it. So right now, he rated it third all-time movie for him. Top Gun Maverick was still 1.
Good.
Rocky 4 was 2. And then Die Hard was 3.
So everybody like Hans Gruber, Robin Hood, Kevin Costner. He was the sheriff.
Oh gosh,
he's a bad
Alan
guy.
Rickman.
In that.
Well, he was a stage actor too.
Yeah.
And then it's so brilliant to because usually, speaking of the superheroes being different or the heroes being different, the villains were bumbling usually. Like to have somebody so smart, so about the way that Hans was changed all of it. It allowed for so many of the things that followed. It holds up tremendously. Like some of these movies you watch from that era, like I love Commando. Commando, you can't make any sense of the timeline.
No.
Makes no sense. But like Die Hard holds up. Like all of it works.
There's still terrorists in the world.
Well,
there's
nothing that would be really changed too much differently other than I suppose with maybe with social media, you could have got the word out a little different in terms of what was happening there, but they still get it out pretty quickly. So, yeah, it worked. It was great. It was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah,
so what were his other options that he went with that one?
The choices were it came down to either that or First Blood. And I think he chose right because First Blood's a lot. That's got a message and stuff. Like he doesn't need a message. He just needs. The other thing about Die Hard is I was proud of him. Like he chuckled at all the funny stuff. Like Willis has got a lot of great lines. So does Hans. Hans has got great lines too.
Yes.
A lot of funny lines to it. That was a win.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So we got that done.
All right. Very nice.
Yeah. Very good. We do have the Hall of Fame induction, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. We now know the order of speakers. So the Hoff will be the headliner in this, as he should be. So it'll go Zach Thomas first, then Ken Riley, DeMarcus Ware, Joe Klecko, Chuck Howley, Darrell Revis, Don Coryell, Rodney Barber, Joe Thomas, ninth on the list.
I think probably the top 3 are put in the right spots. Zach Thomas to kick it off. Darrell Revis right in the middle.
Yeah.
And the Hoff at the end. Space those 3 out. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I just think if you're putting together a show, yeah, you're right. Like you got to start strong and you got to finish strong, and then you need a lifter in the middle. So that's probably how that's going to go. Now, some of these people are deceased, so I don't know how that goes.
So I
mean, I know we'll be there, but I have no like. When's the last time you watched a Hall of Fame thing from start to finish? I don't even know like the order of events.
I don't know how. Yeah.
You know,
No.
like if it's someone who's going in posthumously, like do they get
Like
do
Dan
their
Fouts
people
is
talk?
presenting Don Coryell. I know that. Why is my computer frozen?
Right, but Don Coryell's not with us anymore, right?
I don't believe so.
So then, like, as a relative, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how that all works.
Yeah, and isn't Klecko's alive?
Yeah. Yeah, Don Coryell's been dead since 2010. So,
Okay, my computer's
so
totally
somebody's going to. I don't know if like somebody speaks on his behalf, or how that goes. So, but the Hoff going last, that is appropriate. So that feels like a.
It's about a
noon to-
3-hour event.
Feels like a noon to 4 situation to me. I have a hard time believing it's not noon to 4. But we'll see. Hoff will crush his. He'll kill it, and it's smart for him to be last. 'Cause
Yes.
that'll there'll be a billion Browns fans down there, so that's a smart place for him to be on that side of things. We also had our social media team. It looks like we had a little bit of a scores situation.
I feel like something's coming down tomorrow.
Feels directly. I think it says so. In
Yeah.
fact, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about this. If you pay attention, scores have been available on this for quite a while. I want to say we even had JW on, and he gave a little scores in like February
Yes, he did.
on this. So look forward to that. Look forward to seeing how it gets presented in the total package of the uniform. I think all of that will be very cool. I saw this as well, that there are apparently 8 NFL uniform unveils in the next 2 weeks. My buddy Andrew Lind, who does a lot of stuff with the Nike, he's got a Nike Connect, so he knows like what
When
everyone's
everything's
gonna wear.
coming.
Yeah, and I guess there's 8 NFL uniform unveils in the next 2 weeks.
Well, everybody's back.
Right,
Everybody's
but like
back in
we've
the
already
building.
had Bucks, Seahawks. There's already been several that have
Lions?
been Lions. We've already had
Lions,
all of
yeah.
those. So the fact that along with ours, there's 7 more that are going to be unveiled here in the next.
Hey, look,
2 weeks.
it's an opportunity to sell more merch in the team shop and online.
Oh yeah, and I think for ours, it's something that one of the things that people talk about, like what can you do? What else what are alternatives that you could have done with this brand? It's such an iconic brand, but it's a very specific brand. And so what else could you do with it? So I'm curious to see how that looks. Because if what happens, what I believe to be happening, if whatever that is, I look forward to seeing how, because that's always been something I've theorized.
Yeah. How does it go
what
with
would that
everything
look like?
else?
How would that look?
Yeah.
Right?
How does that go with
Yeah.
everything
Like
else?
it looks great at Texas. How does it look? How does it look for us? So that will be cool. So do we know what time tomorrow? Does Stones know what time? No, nothing.
We're not in the loop.
He's not there yet. He's not ready. He's getting there. He's getting the mindset right. That's good. Hey, I got he'd also be happy to know I received something from the Pause Up operation via the mail today. So keeping up connections there, my friend. So we'll see what I can do on that front. But that's where you are, kids. The headline is this: Coach and staff back. Gibbe saying that Watson is in the building. So you have that.
Yep.
Officially, they will be here on Wednesday, Veterans Friday, and we'll do training camp Saturday.
So Saturday, team gets together. Team flies to West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Team will have a couple hours to get settled, and we'll hit the field in the afternoon.
Yeah, for them, it's nothing. I mean, you fly down there, nothing.
But again, it's the first practice. It's a little more acclimation, a little lighter workout that day. So we shall see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really. I think Coach is going to get what he wants out of that trip. I mean, I think he's going to get the isolation.
They have a
plan.
plan.
The place is very isolated. It's tough to get to. There's not a straight line. And
I looked at the
yeah.
I looked at the map.
You did the nav.
Yeah.
There's 2 ways you can go. Are you going through Charleston, West Virginia?
Probably.
We did that on the way down. And
Is there a better way?
well, the problem with us was it basically rained, cats and dogs from West Virginia to the Greenbrier. It rained the whole time. And so, like, those roads were just harrowing. And then on the way back, we went through, and it's actually a little further, but we went through, why am I blanking? The city, Morgantown.
Oh.
We went that way. And
little WVU.
Yeah, I'd never been there. So I wanted to show
that's a fun little college.
It's a great town right on the hill.
Yeah.
So I had never been there, and I wanted to take the boys, so we went that way. I found that drive, even though it was longer, it felt easier to me.
Okay.
But we also didn't have rain. So
it's supposed to rain Friday.
Yeah. It's harrowing.
Could make for a long day.
Yeah. It's tough because there's no edge. There's no ed line. You're just white knuckle.
Great.
Please don't get a flat tire. People going 1,000 miles an hour. That's the way that works. But the resort's nice, but it's remote for sure.
That's fine.
Yeah. All right, we're off and running. We'll get around the NFL coming up on the program, including a restructure that I think you probably ought to be paying attention to, free agent signing as well. We have the NFL's top 10 tight ends to get to. AP will join us in the 2 o'clock hour of the program, go through some free agency stuff, plus the top 10 non-quarterback franchise building blocks from Bucky Brooks. So we have all of those things to look forward to, which are nice. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You guys ready?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, you are up.
Hi, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily as we go around the NFL. I think there's a little thing that's interesting here on the DeAndre Hopkins deal. There's a lot that's interesting to it, but on the deal with the Titans, 2 years, 26. So the big number that was important, I think, was the 15 from Odell. So Hopkins gets 12 with an ability to earn up to 15. So the Odell deal made Hopkins' deal more complicated for everybody else who thought they were going to get him at a discount.
Yeah.
He had stated that it was, go chase Super Bowls time. And instead, I think the other lesson here is that money's nice even if you have a lot of it. And so this was the biggest number that was ever going to be offered. Nobody else was in the vicinity of 2 years, 26. We weren't in the vicinity of that. Kansas City wasn't. Buffalo wasn't, which is probably why everybody kind of punted early. I think we kind of hung around and said, hey, if this doesn't all work out, we're here. We'll happily take you on, but you love the receiver room that you have here anyway. And that number was you're never going to be anywhere near that number for them. I don't know what Tennessee is. I don't know what they're trying to be.
Who's throwing him the ball?
Tannehill's still there. They've drafted
you think.
quarterbacks in the last 2 drafts. They have Malik Willis and they have Will Levis.
Yeah,
Both.
what's Tannehill's health going into this? And I think we can all agree that Tannehill's on the backside of his career.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So what – I don't know. This goes back to you never should have gotten rid of A.J. Brown.
No.
And now you're trying to make up for it, I feel like, by going to get Hopkins.
Or get rid of A.J. Brown, don't sign Hopkins, trade Derrick Henry, get rid of Ryan Tannehill,
Clear
and
it all
start
out.
over.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I know Mike a little bit just from the time when I was down in Columbus and around when he was in Columbus. And he's not tear it down to the
We're not ever going to raise the white flag.
No, it's not. He's always going to put the best possible team forward. And I think probably the trading of A.J. Brown led to the general manager change, which happens down there. Rand Carthen, the GM now. So I think that's just in his DNA. But to me, they're at best 9-8, at worst 6-11.
I mean, you could win games in your division.
Maybe they're 10-7. Yeah, their division's bad.
I mean, as much as we talk about Jacksonville being good, we got to see it.
Yeah, and you got to
Indianapolis 500 maybe.
Yeah, at best. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Houston's going to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could go, what would that be? Like 5-1 in the division, 4-2 in the division, and then, you're talking about a 10-win team, but you're not a team of consequence in the AFC.
That's a big game for us in week 3, by the way. I'm not.
It's going to sound like broken record, but the first 4 games will tell us, just like last year.
Yeah, but I mean, you're playing AFC teams. You're talking tiebreakers.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I mean, and that Jets loss last year hurt in so many more ways than just the basic outcome.
I think
in the last 2 minutes.
I think the two most jarring results last year were the Jets loss and the Patriots loss, both here.
You got to win those.
Those had to. I mean, you had the Jets on the rope. I know that people would point to the Chargers too, but they were probably a better team than us. We were better than the Jets. We beat the Jets. We blew it in the last 2 minutes. And then I think New England was when you said, okay, you're not going to play for anything this year. Just wasn't going to be in the cards. If that display that you got here against New England. So that's when you look ahead to this year's schedule. And you talk about those first 4, I mean, holy cow, the first 5 is brutal. It's just to refresh for folks. Bengals here to open, at Pittsburgh, Titans here, Ravens here, 49ers here.
Yeah.
So
no pressure.
It eases up a little in that you're at Colts, then you're at Seattle, Cardinals here. I mean, it's tough. It's very tough. The AFC's brutal, and the fact that you got the Niners in that first 5 weeks as well is.
Oh, and now you got Hopkins back in the AFC. Still a guy. The Madden top 10 wide receivers are out. Justin Jefferson with a 99 joins the 99 club.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill with a 98, number 2. Devontae Adams, number 3. Stephon Diggs, number 4. Cooper Kupp, number 5. Jamar Chase at 6. DeAndre Hopkins is number 7.
Too high for him.
I agree.
Chase needs to be swapped with Diggs.
Yes. McLaurin, number 8. with a
Okay.
92 rating. A.J. Brown, number 9, with a 91. This literally just came out. And at number 10, our own Amari Cooper at 91.
Okay.
But you don't have Jets wide receiver. Like, how many
Garrett
different-
Wilson
yeah,
yet?
you don't have Garrett Wilson
I
on
think
there?
I wonder if he'll play his way up. I think he's going to have a monster year. He could play his way up.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that aren't on that list.
It's probably as deep and as talented as the receiver position's ever been in our lifetime for sure. I wish they would do one player at every position's a 99.
I think it'd be nice.
And then that's it. Like you can't have 399 receivers. Like one's
Or
a 99.
399 defensive ends.
Yeah, you can't do that. Just one guy's a 99.
So there's only one wideout.
Yeah,
Jefferson.
So that's good. I like that. So they have 3 DNs. Is like
I think so. I haven't
Miles,
seen
TJ,
it yet.
and probably Nick Bosa
Yeah.
would probably all be 99s. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Just pick one. Go that way with it. But that's a good spot for Amari. That's about where I
like
think it's
it.
way too high for Hopkins. He's not that type of player anymore.
Not anymore.
So that would have Hopkins at what, like a 93?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that seems too high for me to have him at a 93. Evan Ingram gets an extension worth an extra $15 million, so you have that. This is the one that I wanted to get to, though. So Joe Mixon and the Bengals kind of did we'd like to stay together, but with a different arrangement, and Mixon's like, yeah, I'm in. He's taken less.
Willingly.
Yeah, he took less. I think if you look at the running back market now, like Dalvin Cook is currently not on a team, right? Zeke, Kareem, like a lot of these guys have yet to find places to play. And so I think for Mixon, it's like, I like this situation. I like this franchise. I'm going to hang out here for a couple of years, and I'll give him a discount to be able to do it, and it's just the reality of the position.
Well, and if you're Cincinnati, smart move. You have all the power, because if he doesn't agree to it, we're cutting you, and we're going to go sign one of the other big names.
Yeah, I think they have all the leverage. He was smart enough to see it. I'm curious because next year we'll be in a situation with Nick where we got to figure out, he wants to be here, they want him here, but there's
a
some
big
math,
cap number.
There's some math that has to work. So we'll see where all that goes. So I took note of the Mixon restructure. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, and does that lead to something like how much of that was QB1 in Cincinnati getting in Joe Mixon's ear and saying, hey, like, we want to keep the whole band together?
Yeah. I was talking to somebody from down there last week, I think on Friday, and a pretty in-depth conversation. And the way he explained it to me was that Burrow, his hands are all over all of it. His fingerprints are all over all of it. It's over Mixon. It's over Chase. It's over Higgins. His own deal. Like, he wants all of the band to be together. So, and he has the power to do it because if he takes less, then you can do it.
Yep.
Brady did this. Brady always took – the Mannings never took less. Brady's took less to be able to make sure the team around was good. So, so that was a big one, though. I took note of that restructure with Mixon because a lot of people thought he'd be cut down there, and then eventually he'll end up sticking around. Okay, so Johnny Football is coming August 8th to Netflix.
Yeah.
Untold Johnny Football, a documentary on the one and only Johnny Manziel. Buckle up. I think they should have waited a decade for that.
Is he out of money? Probably
I don't think
not.
so. Doesn't he have family money?
Yeah.
I just think like you need a little more time. If you think about like even like the Manti Te'o doc or some of the great 30 for 30s that have been done, you want to kind of forget about something before bringing it back.
It's still pretty fresh.
It's pretty fresh. I suppose it's almost 10 years though, isn't it? Was he 13, 14?
14, I believe.
Yeah. I think he won the Heisman in 13. That's what's in my head anyway.
I mean, he's 30 years old.
Well, he just played the 2 years. At
2014 draft.
So he's won the Heisman actually won the Heisman in 12.
Yeah.
Because it was his redshirt freshman year where he won it, and then the 13 season he didn't, and then he went pro. So it's 2014 draft. And the other thing I think with Johnny is so much of it we know. I mean, for us especially, like
What is there not to know?
Well, there's a tremendous Wright Thompson piece in ESPN the magazine from going into his second year at A&M that if you would have read that, you'd be like, wow, this kid from a maturity standpoint has light years to go. And that was the year before his last year at A&M. And then it's all but we documented so much of it, like
He did himself.
yeah, he was all over. I mean, social media was in full form at that point. So, yeah, I don't know.
You
I don't
can't
know.
relive going to Vegas. We already know that.
Everybody
story.
done it. So to me, it feels like they needed to just wait a decade, do it like 2030 to where there's, and then also maybe he would have a chance at age, approaching 40 to have a different perspective on it all, because I don't know that his perspective's changed at all.
Correct.
Anytime you hear him talk, it feels like that there's no real difference to what he is now to what he was.
No, I don't think there's a whole lot of remorse for how things went.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there will be some remorse in his career. You can't tell me that's how you wanted your career to play out. But no, I don't. To me, it just seems a little bit too soon. For the Johnny Doc. Give it even like, I mean, the best ones on college football, most of them were stuff that happened in the 80s, and then those docs came out in the 2000s. That's usually the window. You want about 20 years from incident.
That's a good point.
Get it out to 2030, then all of a sudden there will be a generation of people who have no idea who Johnny Football is. Right now, I still think too many people probably have a negative connotation with him.
Yeah.
As well.
By the way, tickets to the Jets' first 4 open training camp practices sold out this morning in 3 minutes per Adam Schefter.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
5 more practices will be made available in the coming days. And they're going to be on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, you're going to get – by the way, so does Hard Knocks get an extra week of shows because of that? I would think. So normally Hard Knocks is 4 episodes. I wonder if they're going to do 5.
Because of the Hall of Fame?
Because of the Hall of Fame.
That'd be great.
That would be great.
I'd be fine with that.
Well, I'm curious, like to see their interaction with us and what all that's about. Rodgers beat your boy Romo in Tahoe.
Do we know how Miz did?
I couldn't find this leaderboard for this thing anywhere. I could not find it. We'll get you an update on that. We'll also give you the top 10 tight ends according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler.
You and I are going to
coaches
guess
and
them.
Executives and scouts. We will get to that coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
To you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You guys ready?
1 second.
Not a problem.
Hello? There we go. Now we're
Yep.
up. Yep.
All right, you are up.
Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler ranked the NFL's top 10 quarterback or tight ends based on coaches, executives, and scouts votes. So
We
Segura
did the
has been
defense
doing
last
this.
week.
Segura has been doing this, guessing. I wrote down the first 10 that came to mind.
That's fine.
Wanna see how we do?
I thought we were going to team up, but it's good if you have your 10
I
already.
mean, I just picked. I got
I like
10.
it.
Let's, I'll do the best I can.
I like it.
Kelsey.
They're fine. Kelsey's number 1.
Yep. Kittle.
Number 2.
Andrews.
Number 3.
Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson.
Number 6. You're 4 for 4 so far.
Yeah, we're off and
You're crushing it.
Goddard. Dallas Goddard.
Number 4.
All right. Let's go. Freiermuth.
Oh,
God. Oh, no.
Number 9.
Oh, come on, buddy.
Oh, you're undefeated.
Evan Ingram.
Number 8.
It's pretty ridiculous.
This is going well.
Hunter Henry. Oh, no.
Hold on. I think you might.
Oh.
Yeah. Boy, I don't even.
Dun,
Oh,
dun,
he's
dun,
in
dun.
honorable mention.
Oh, no.
First miss.
That's
What
sad.
are you, 6 for 7?
6 for 7.
Yeah.
Everett.
Everett.
Chargers.
No.
no.
I don't. Hold on. Others receiving votes.
Oh, sad. Chief.
Chief was honorable mention.
Oh, my God. So at
Got
best, I'm going to
screwed.
go 7 out of 10. Sad at best. 6 of my first
that's
7,
all
I
right.
crushed it. I missed 5. Waller? Is Waller still on the list even though he had a down year?
Let's see. I don't believe so.
No, he's off. So I end up 6
Oh,
out
no,
of-
number 5.
Oh, okay. There you go.
You're good.
So
you
5, I got 7 out of 10.
Segura's been getting 8, maybe
so I'm
9.
in the vicinity of
You're
him,
right
so
there.
I'm right there. All right, so what did I miss? I missed 7. So I got 1 through 6. I missed 7 and 10. Who was 7?
Can I interest you
Noah
in
Fant?
Can I interest you in Kyle Pitts at number 7? Our guy's better than that.
Pitts is 7?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's not like I was tracking like his season last year. Oh, he was 1,000. No, he's 1,000 yards in 21. So last year he was 356 on just 28 catches. I'm sure he got hurt. So he played 10 games. No, let me see. Yeah, he played 10 games. 356 yards in 10 games. I don't know. That feels erroneous. So they had him 7, and who'd they have 10? Was
Hold
it
on.
Fant 10?
From radio. Turn that down a little bit, buddy. There you go.
Now you got it.
Young Jordan. There you go.
He's working. It's all
No,
working.
no, no. That's I told the guys today. I told the law firm of Jake and Jake.
Yep. The 2 Jakes.
We're going. That's what we're doing. I told the law firm. They're like, "Are we going to do all this? Are we going to do the live stream?" I go, "We're doing it all."
Yeah,
And if we got to tweak it, we'll tweak it.
Yeah. No,
It's all
sink or
right.
swim. You're fine.
Uh,
Who was 10? Who the hell did I miss at 10?
Dawson Knox
Dawson Knox.
of the Buffalo Bills.
All right. So Knox and Pitts.
Honorable mentions were Dalton Schultz of the Texans,
Yeah.
Njoku, Noah Fant, Tyler Higbee, Hunter Henry, Cole Kmet. Your others receiving votes: Mike Gesicki, Gerald Everett, Zach Ertz, Zach Ertz is in there strictly because of name, I feel
Yeah,
like.
I think you're probably right.
Logan Thomas, Jawan Johnson, and Josh Oliver.
Yeah, I think Pitts is too high. I mean, I'm sure potentially he'll be. I guess he would still have a ton of value, though. People think that he can be great. I think the Chiefs should have been in the 10.
Yes, he's better than Pitts.
Certainly is more valuable right now. Better right now.
Well, I mean, just look at last year between the two. I mean, Pitts missed 7 games, just 28 catches. Like, Pitts is going to be fine, but Chiefs better.
I agree. Yeah, I think Chiefs should have been a top 10 guy.
And it will continue to astound me that the Detroit Lions traded T.J. Hawkinson to the Minnesota Vikings.
It's one of the craziest things ever. I think we looked into that once, and wasn't it a money thing?
Yeah.
Like they couldn't afford. They're going to run up against it from a money standpoint, so they punted on him to get the assets back. But why in division? It feels like he would be exactly what they would want. Didn't they just draft a tight end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with what's-his-face being suspended for 6 games.
Yeah,
like,
J-Mo.
I think you'd like that guy on your team.
Yeah, it's interesting what's happened with the tight end position. I suppose this is the Gronk, Kelsey impact, where this position it feels like has never been more valuable than it is right now.
Well, here's what they said about the Chief. Rare blend of speed, power, and strength, an NFC offensive coach said. A lot of upside. Has never quite put it all together, but every offense would love a guy like that. He's perfect for what Cleveland does. I think he put it together last year pretty nicely.
Yeah, and that's with, inconsistent quarterback play. I mean, I think he'd be a star this year. I mean, he's had that potential in him the whole way, and I just think, like, you get consistent system, and we're going to throw it a lot. I think Deshaun's going to like him.
And with our wide receiver crew,
Yeah.
he's going to be able to get open underneath.
So he was 628 in 14 last year, 10.8 per 4 touchdowns, 44.
58 receptions, man.
Yeah. I think that number goes up about 7. I could see him around 60 some, low 60s, and I think the receiving number could get upwards of closer to 8. So I think he in many instances he can be our deep vertical threat down the seam. You can put that ball high, he goes and gets it. I think that there's a avenue there for him to have quite a bit of success in that spot. All right, so we got 7 out of 10. That's doable.
You did great.
Yeah,
you
you
held
did all
down
right,
the
kid.
fort perfectly.
You want to have a decent percentage on that. And to be fair, tight end's tough. That's tough.
Especially, again, Pitts didn't have a great year.
No.
So you wouldn't think of him as a top 10
no.
wideout.
I get it from the standpoint of, like, if people were betting on who's going to be great, they would bet on him to be great.
Yeah.
But also, like, I think Chief should have been on that thing.
I agree.
All right, second hour coming up next. AP will join us here in studio. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, second hour here. Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Our senior staff writer, Anthony Poisel, joins us in studio. When are you going? When are you going to Virginia, West Virginia?
We head out on the day that everybody else heads out, and that is Saturday early morning. Plane heads out early in the morning, and we have our first practice.
You're flying?
I am flying. I'm on the.
You're not on the Gibby train?
Unfortunately, no.
I feel like, fortunately, quite honestly, it's 5.5 hours.
You'd probably say, well, it probably has its pros and cons, but
yeah.
No, I'll be flying out early that morning. We'll be on a staff plane, and as soon as we land, it's go time. There's not going to be any time to sort of, you throw your bags in your room, and then boom, there's that first practice. It's literally right when we get to town, I think. So that'll be a pretty long day, but the first day of training camp, always one of those longer days, but it's exciting stuff.
Pretty cool in terms of from your perspective, because I mean you're going to be able to give our fans everything.
Oh yeah,
because this is, I mean, I've been down there. Have you been down there?
Mm-mm.
You've been to Greenbrier?
No, I actually didn't know you were down there either. But
I was down there a year ago.
Okay.
It's remote.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, I heard that the two closest airports, or commercial airports at least, are 80 miles away. I think that's the one in Virginia, and then 120 miles away, which is the one in Charlotte. Maybe I
think Roanoke.
Yeah,
would be
a commercial airport.
I think Roanoke has a commercial airport.
Yeah.
Am I Gibby shaking his head? That seems like that's the closest one.
That is the closest one. It's about an hour away.
Yeah.
So
that it's a hike.
But that's the point of it. That's what.
No, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I said this in the first hour. Like, this is a long camp, man. And what coach is trying to do is keep it fresh, and so this gives a little variation. You get away, and other teams have done it before. The Saints have done it. The Texans have done it. They did it for climate reasons, right? Because it's hot and steamy, and so they go there, and it's nice. The facilities down there, you'll see them. I mean, they're nice. They've rebuilt them recently just for this purpose.
And I'm excited for the golf courses as well, at least to see the
fun.
golf courses. Yeah.
Well, you'll be able to play them. I mean, you guys should have some time in the afternoons. They have the pro down there is a great dude and a huge Buckeye, and so we bonded over that, and he was aware of my act from the Ohio State stuff, so he was great. They have, I want to say, they have the Snead, which like Zagura will be able to play, and if you guys get the call to the bullpen, maybe you'll get to play that one, but that one's not even like on the immediate premises.
Yeah.
And then they have the Old White, which is the PGA stop, and I think it's a live stop this year.
Yeah.
And then they have two other ones. They have the Greenbrier, which was the original one, and I think it's hosted like a Ryder Cup or something like forever ago.
Yeah.
And Nicholas redesigned that. And then they have another course as well. So there's 3 nines at the main resort, and then there's the Snead, which is like for the members who have like the houses there.
I know Gibby and I will be doing everything we can to try and work a connection or do something to get on there. And I won't be on the Gibby Mobile down, but I do still have him to thank for being able to get my clubs down there, because those.
I think you could play. I don't see any reason why you're not playing. You could play anywhere 4 o'clock and after. You're going to be able to walk onto any of those and just go.
Yeah, there will definitely be a couple of those days where we're hustling through work. Maybe,
I doubt it. I think you'll have plenty of downtime. You guys put in about what, 3-4 hours a week? Gibby down there?
A day?
3-4 hours a day. I mean, 3 or 4, something like that.
I don't know if you know our full schedule.
Or is that just
I don't know.
Is that just
yeah, there you go. I didn't want to bury him today. I was trying to be nice and positive.
Where is he, by the way? You guys probably
he's golfing today.
He's golfing. Well, to
but
be fair, this is his charity.
He is on a board. He is a board member. This is a big day for his the charity. I think Cornerstone of Hope.
It is Cornerstone of Hope. Yeah,
I did that on Friday. I was at the Gene Hickerson Memorial Golf Outing, Bunker Hill. So
okay,
it was fun. We had a little Browns group that was a scramble.
Okay,
I mean obviously it was a scramble.
Who was in that group?
We had our good friend Drew Davidson. We had
we call
Murph,
him
Yellowstone around here.
Murph over from PR, and Leah from our digital department.
Leah is a pretty good golfer.
Yeah. She had a couple really good shots, and we did not win, but we were not expecting to win. We were just there to have a good time and enjoy being able to swing a golf club on a Friday.
Where's this course?
So, Bunker Hill. It's down in Medina.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Nice track.
Yeah.
My good friend Chadley runs it. Really nice. Good outing track, but maintained really good course.
It's
tough.
challenging too. They got a few good holes.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to give you guys. Here's my scouting report. Here's what you're going to love. You're going to love the golf. The golf is great. All the courses are really cool. The Old White's awesome. Snead is. I didn't get to play it, but I went up there. It's beautiful. It's pretty tranquil. I mean, the river's running right through it. Like, it's pretty cool. The golf courses are very, very cool. So that'll be a tremendous positive. You will like the history for a couple days. And then you'll be like, okay, I get it. It's old.
Yeah.
I get it. It's in the brochure.
We'll be walking by the same spots, I'm sure, over and over.
You're going to be walking by the same. It's not as big as it seems. So you're going to be, going back and forth on the things a lot. So those things you'll like. You're going to be tired of, I think you're going to be exhausted by the food by the time you're done.
Okay.
Like by the time it's all said and done, you're like, really? But you guys may be doing like cafeteria stuff too, so I don't know how, or if everything's at a restaurant.
I'm not sure.
I don't have information. We're working through that.
That's the other thing.
Apparently,
I don't know.
we're supposed to get info this week. Like obviously this week.
Vouchers and like,
week.
Because
I had heard there could be some vouchers involved.
Yeah. So there's like breakfast. There's not for a full week. There's not a ton of variety of where you're eating. They're good. I mean, the Jerry West Steakhouse is phenomenal. That joint. That'll all be. Just put that, and then the one thing you make sure you charge this to the team. You'll be able to get a signed Jerry West bottle of wine that you can get there. So you get his because he has a vineyard. So then he signs the bottle.
I have Zagura sign off.
I was going to say this is all going on.
No. If there's one person that can get away with that on the expense report,
8 bottles though.
Watch
I don't know. I feel like he might make a run at it.
Well, how many can he get? He's gonna a couple perhaps. But I think that I'm going to tell you something. They do the one thing, which is like you have to wear a coat to go to dinner there. Skip that.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't know if...
We got the kids all suited up in coats. It's like took forever.
I don't really want to bring
That's
a
not
coat
the
down
steakhouse,
there.
is it?
No, that's Jerry West Steakhouse is awesome. But then they have like the one, which is like their formal dining room. And in that, like they make you wear coats and ties and all this stuff. And
Sounds awful.
Yeah, I'm not wearing a coat for dinner.
I was fine with it.
Not during training camp.
Like I think some places, Augusta, you put on a green jacket. Like it's okay. It's fine. We're over casualized anyway as a society.
You think so?
Yeah. You see how people dress on planes? It's outrageous.
Oh no! Don't tell me you're one of the guys. It's a plane, Bo.
Yeah, you're too young.
Commercial aircraft.
I always wear pants on the plane.
I don't even care if you wear shorts, but I don't need to see in your pajamas.
Yeah.
Pajamas
Like,
anywhere is a little in public.
Come on. My thing is always like. Anytime that my whole time growing up and coming out of college, when I was in TV, whatever, anytime I was in public, dressed in case I ran into somebody important.
You never know.
Because you don't want to be some schmuck all schlubbing through an airport.
What
and
about
all of a sudden there's a prospective boss like, oh, I would really like to work for you. Really?
Well, what about like joggers and a quarter zip or something?
Just that's not pajamas.
Oh, okay. You're
Not,
really
saying
just talking
joggers,
pajamas.
Are you talking about like the Lululemon type, or are you talking about like cotton sweatpants? Because I can't co-sign cotton sweatpants.
Really, either. Like
No
just.
chance. No
I mean,
chance.
not baggy sweatpants. But
Not if you're trying to be a professional.
So there, even like up until about 2 years ago, and I don't know if it's changed now, but Delta had a dress code.
There's no dress code
that's
anymore,
definitely
brother.
changed. Yeah.
Yeah,
As someone who's flown Delta.
No,
There
people
were
are animals. It's people bringing pillows.
Oh yeah, that's
Come on.
annoying.
Come on, let's live in a society. So what are you most looking forward to here?
Well, I mean, the beginning of training camp is always, you get your eyes on the quarterback again, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's just no hiding from the fact that everybody's excited to see if everybody who was able to see how Deshaun looked in minicamp, if he's able to pick right back up where he was in training camp. And, I saw him posting, I think it was Elijah Moore who posted an Instagram video of him and Deshaun working out in Miami. And, I mean, training camp, yes, they're going to be wearing pads sometimes, but still in its essence, it is a passing camp. So I'm just excited to see where the chemistry, if it picks up where it left off from minicamp, if how things are looking between him and Elijah Moore. I think that's really, if I had to highlight one super specific thing, it would be that is where's that Deshaun Watson and Elijah Moore connection going to be at? Because I feel like the Amari Cooper Deshaun Watson connection is going to be great. But Elijah Moore is still a relatively new receiver in this league. This will be his 3rd year, and this is a new playbook for him and a new offense and a new quarterback. But by the way that things looked back in minicamp, it's going to be really, really special to see those two guys together, see where they line Elijah Moore up in the offense. Obviously, that was probably one of the bigger pieces we were talking about back when spring practices were going on. So just to see where everything looks on that front of the offense, that's what I think all the eyes will be on. And then, of course, on the defensive side, once the pads do come on, it'll be really good to see how that all comes together as well. Be super interesting to see how Jim Schwartz mixes and matches things, because that was defensively from minicamp. That was what we were talking about was, hey, we saw Zadarius Smith. He was playing inside a lot. That was something that I don't think a lot of people expected to see. And then Denzel Ward playing in the slot, just things like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be hard to evaluate the defense still in a training camp setting, but you can always make something out of some of the personnel groupings that are being laid out there, and they have a lot of really exciting ones that I think they can use on both ends of the football. So
there's no question that we, having seen minicamp and having seen the way Deshaun played at minicamp and the way that they used Elijah Moore, that we are on the extreme of an excitement for him, because of what we saw. And it is also fair for a fan base to go, yeah, we've heard this before. So I get that.
Absolutely.
I understand it. The reason when AP's talking about it, Z and I have talked about it, when we had Tyvis on, he talked about it. Those of us that saw it, there's a reason that the excitement is there. Like, this isn't manufactured stuff. It's what we saw.
Yeah. It's
the way they used him. When I had Coach Stefanski on and we talked about, and we had him on the day after the end of minicamp, and I asked him about him, and Coach Stefanski not one to be too excited about much of anything, at least on the mic.
I understand.
And which makes sense. It's the
Total
style
sense.
that he likes. It's honest to who he is as a human.
Mm-hmm.
But he was excited about it. So, like, all of that to be said, and this is the same thing with Deshaun. None of this really matters.
No,
like it's
it
September, so like
right.
He's got to go in September. We want to hit these check marks. Does it look right? Is there stuff to be excited about with Moore, most especially with Watson? But it's really not till September when you're going to know if it went, if it's going.
And I will add this. One question, or like you said at the beginning, there is, we've heard this before. Reasons to be excited for the team, and it hasn't always planned out that way during the actual season. But I think the thing that you can really kind of hold on to be excited here is, Deshaun, he's done this before. He's brought an offense together before. Yes, it's been a year and a half, 2 years since he's been able to play consistently in this league, but he has done this before. And there's a whole lot of reasons to believe that he'll be able to do it again this year. And there wasn't anything really that you saw in minicamp during those spring practices that said otherwise. And again, I know it all goes back to how do they play in September, right? But you
can still be excited in the moment, though, as a Browns fan. Like, understand that the proof will come then.
Yeah.
But you can still enjoy these moments in between.
And even in minicamp, you saw during the mandatory minicamp, you saw a progression through those 3 days of things looking better. I shouldn't say through those 3 days of minicamp, through all of OTAs. You saw a progression of, I remember at the beginning of that, things were a little shaky. You could tell this was the guys' first time back on the field, in a few months. But over the course of those spring practices, things started to gradually look better. And so even if we get to Greenbrier, and even if maybe that it takes a couple of practices for things to get going, which is totally possible, like I would also still be really excited to see what I think would be a good progression throughout training camp of Deshaun, being able to connect with more throws, maybe we'll see just as many deep balls then as we did during minicamp, which was obviously another big theme, was just how willing he was to really let the football go, something that we didn't see a whole lot when he was playing last year. He's got the weapons to do that now. So I think we're going to see a progression through training camp of this team really coming together and being better. And a lot of that has to be because of Four, and he's done this before. He knows what it takes to build an offense together during a full training camp.
One of my favorite things about camp is there will come a moment early in practices, first week of practice, where usually a rookie or a new guy, and you look out there and you go, oh, he's got it. Like we had MJ Emerson. We were out there last year, me and Joe and Nate, and we were watching, and I was that's Emerson. We're like, oh, he can go. He's got it. He's got that thing. And I do wonder. The room is crowded. I get it, but Tillman checks a lot of boxes, and just in the limited stuff that I saw, it's going to be hard to work into the rotation. There's a lot of talent in that room.
Yeah.
But he is, I think, a natural one. He's not going to be that year one, but I think he can progress to that.
Yeah.
And his hands were really soft. And it was like when the ball hit his hands, it was sure. And to me, I'm curious to see what he looks like amongst all the rest. But whether it's him or somebody else, I mean, hell, it could be Luke Whippler. I mean, it could be somebody like that who just is ahead of where people thought, and you're like, oh, he belongs.
Yeah, definitely. Before I came in here, I was taking a look around because I figured at some point we'd be talking about who maybe we thought would be the training camp darling, right? And I feel like when you go up and down the roster, you consider the fact that, the guys in training camp who stand out the most are usually receivers, just because, like I was saying before, it still is in some ways a passing camp.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to not see Cedric Tillman, not becoming one of those guys. You mentioned Emerson. A reason why Emerson stuck out last year was because of his size. You go out on the field, you see how big he is compared to the other corners. He in some ways looks like a linebacker or a bigger safety sometimes, and you're just like, this guy,
Well, he had hips, he could run. There's stuff that you can just – it seems crazy because all of these guys were among the top 3% of college football, right? But it's just different when you get at this level.
Yeah.
And the ones that have it right away. Like before his injury, Delpit had it. Like you saw him and you went, he's going. He can go. There's no doubt. And
definitely.
JOK had that. He had that explosiveness right away as a rookie. He was lost right away. But once that started to come, he always had that explosiveness. And there will be somebody out there, first year, new guy, who pops. Yeah. That'll happen for you down in Greenbrier. That's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, and maybe it could be Siaki Ika too. He's easily the biggest guy in that.
It's hard to notice those guys though because of the
way it goes. Yeah, I mean,
but you'll be able to see his fluidity and you'll see those
exactly.
Things.
No, but going back to Tillman, the plays that he made during minicamp that really stood out, I feel like were, if I remember right too, were the ones in the red zone. That's where a guy with the build like he has can really, really thrive. And I was making the comparison to Emerson because I feel like Tillman can easily be that guy again too. Like you were saying, he's got that big body, looked great in camp, in minicamp, and seemed like he was going to already have some really great chemistry with Watson or Dobbs, whoever's going to be taking those second string reps. So he would be my early pick for that training camp darling guy. I really like him, and obviously we know that this front office really likes him and thinks that he can come in and immediately be a contributor. He definitely showed flashes of that at Tennessee. He was a guy that some people leading up to the draft thought could go earlier than the third round. So,
dude, before he gets hurt his last year at Tennessee, I mean, Jalen Hyatt had his season.
Right. Exactly.
He was their one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's got it. I don't know if it'll show, and I just use his as an example because there will be somebody who goes and turns eyes and heads next week. You'll see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so much competition in that receiver room too, like you were saying. Even if Tillman does go and turn heads, he still might be the fourth guy on that depth chart.
Yeah.
Which is fine because what did we talk about all offseason before was, we'll take all the good receivers. We need that receiver room to be stacked. That's one way that you can come close to guaranteeing that Deshaun will have the best spot of returning back to his Pro Bowl form. So it would be a great sign, obviously, if Cedric Tillman comes out and just makes that receiver room look even better. And based on what we saw in minicamp, I think he will.
He will have limited opportunity just because of the depth in the room. Jerome Ford is somebody who's going to get a big chance to shine here. And I think of somebody who could have a big role on this team,
for sure,
other than the ones that are known, he's the one that needs to have a good camp to prevent them from saying, hey, let's go, maybe McKinnon's available, let's go. He's got an opportunity.
Actually, and I think the way that Jerome does that is by just showing how much improvement he's made as a pass catcher.
And pass protector.
Pass protector, too. And that's what Stump talked about when he was asked about Jerome was, he's come a long way just toward being able to plug holes for, on passing plays for the QB. So, and I do think the way that Jerome really makes a big impact in this offense this year is not just by that, but by taking up some of that role that Kareem Hunt had previous years. He obviously won't be expected, I don't think, to catch the same volume of passes every game or be that same type of screen guy, but he is definitely still going to be leaned on that a lot. And, I remember Andrew Berry, back at, I think it was the Combine when he was asked about Jerome Ford, and he specifically highlighted his pass catching abilities and thought that, while he didn't necessarily have a whole lot of opportunities to show that last year, like they did think that he made some strides there. And that to me was the first hint, because that was, before free agency and everything. That to me was the first hint this offseason where it's like, they might really like Jerome Ford as that number 2 back. He only got, I think it was like 8 carries for 12 yards last year, but you could see some of that explosiveness, that elusiveness
Yeah.
as a kickoff returner for him. And I think he's going to have a great opportunity, as you were saying, to really show that as a true running back this year. They're going to give Nick Chubb the ball a lot still. There's no doubt about that.
yeah.
But there's always got to be a backup running back who they can plug in whenever they need. And it seems like they're really confident that Jerome can be that guy. So pass catching, pass blocking, all those things, it seems like, based on what we've heard, have made some serious strides. And so I think that's why they're content with him at number 2.
Give me, if you get to play the old white, what's a score you're happy with?
A score? What do you mean? What?
If you get to play the old white, which is the big course down there,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
what is a score
was like, what?
you're happy with?
105.
See, I am always
I don't
going to.
It's a full day.
I am always
it's-
going to.
It's a full day.
Yeah.
Especially if you play
What
member
distance?
tips.
What distance am I playing?
I don't know it off the top of my head.
All right. Okay. I'll go with like anything under 100. When
Poisel is a good golfer.
When
Don't
I-
let him fool you.
I remember when I played the only other PGA course I played, the Ocean course. I went into that day thinking if I break 100, I'll be happy, and I shot 98. So
There you go.
if I break 100 here, I'll be happy.
Okay. So that was it's not in the same vicinity as like Muirfield, like you've played there. It's not even close
Yeah.
to that difficult. But it's tough. It's tough. I think you break it.
I like a tough golf course because it just makes you think. You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta be careful with every shot. You really gotta focus in on.
Yeah,
on
it's
every
cool.
shot. So.
I'm looking forward. We'll look forward to your reviews, buddy. Enjoy
yeah.
your time down there. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Coming up next, we'll get some of the free agent news of the offseason. We'll play a little higher or lower as well. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
We're here.
Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You guys ready?
1 second.
No problem.
You'll like it. My guess is by Tuesday.
That's before the day off.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you're up.
Cleveland Browns 2023 schedule is here. Get your single game tickets now for all the great matchups at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/tickets to purchase yours today. I just saw this. So the Madden ratings are coming out. We're
Yes.
seeing a lot of these. So I just saw the rookie one. So the rookie wide receivers, Jackson Smith and Jigba's a 98. He's an 89 speed, which is a faster speed rating than Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. He is not faster than Garrett Wilson. Jackson Smith and Jigba is not. Nice player. They have Zay Flowers a 93, which is a higher speed rating than Deebo Samuel or Justin Jefferson. That's pretty fast.
That's
like
a
they're
pretty
having-
generous number.
Feels like they're going to let the rookies go a little bit here this year on the Madden. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. I bought it every year. The kids have very little interest in it after the first. You buy it and then they play it for the first week and then they're done.
No,
Where'd my garbage go, Gibby?
I'm working on it. The garbage can. The one garbage can's filled with coat hangers.
Why?
I don't know where the coat hangers came from.
Take all the wood ones out.
Well, I think we did.
Yeah, save those. Those are the good ones.
Yeah. I don't know where all the hangers. They might get
There's
thrown out.
There's a 42 reg Browns alumni jacket that I'm just going to take.
You should wear it the night of the party.
Wear it to the house. Oh God!
If I had one my size, I would do it with
Yeah,
you.
we just go over there.
Oh, lumps. Yeah,
Sure,
you know, sure.
Who's to argue?
I don't know where those came from. They've been there for at least 3 years.
I think they've been here since I've been doing this. I started doing this show in 18-ish, 19, 18. I can't even remember. I think this is the sixth season.
We're starting our sixth. You and I.
Yeah. So we've been doing this for a while, and I think those coats have been in there the whole time. It's funny, like everything else was moved out, but somehow those stayed.
Well, those ended up in here.
Oh, and they
when I
went
came back, I was like, nope, those are going right back out there.
Back out.
We'll see how long they last.
Those and like Zagura's football cleats were in there for 6 years.
I think I made him get rid of those. I think he finally threw them out. There's a garbage bag with all of his stuff that he
With
just
his
kind
gear?
of – because he comes in like, I got to go work out. And then he just like throws it on the ground. I'm like, this is not your bedroom, nor is it your home.
What'd I do?
Yeah, exactly.
What'd I do? All right. What do we got here? We're living each team's best free agent signing.
Yeah, you know,
Let's have some fun.
that's what we're doing.
It's that time.
Yeah.
So this is from CBS Sports.
Yeah, our favorite people. Each team's best free agent signing. So, like, Arizona had, like, Kurt Warner.
Oh, this is all time?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not guessing
Look at
anything.
the nation.
We're just
Look
commenting.
at the nation.
Boy, he's
Oh,
ready
this
for
is
the
our-
Greenbrier.
Yeah, he is. I think I've given you a pretty good scouting report on what to expect.
Yeah, I just I have a lot of questions internally that we still need to.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Where are we? You know, what are we doing? What is the game plan?
So were we in the room? They were big on like selling the charm of it all, and I was big on. This feels like a lot of money for the charm.
I mean, how's the pool situation?
It's fine. Nice. It overlooks the golf. It's
Okay,
great.
because
That's nice. They
like,
got cabanas.
I will
around
be
the edge.
there maybe as much as I will be on the golf course. I like
Yeah,
a
it's
good
nice.
pool.
Oh, it's a great pool.
Especially if it's
Good
85,
view.
90 degrees.
Oh yeah, great view. That'll be great, and you overlook the golf, so that's
yeah.
great.
See, I'm fine there.
And they do have like, I mean, it's White Sulphur Springs. They do have those hot springs, like the spa setup has that. They do have an indoor pool that's kind of crazy too, because it's something that very clearly was built in a bygone era.
Gotcha.
But it's functional and kind of crazy. The boys maybe saw their first R-rated movie there.
At the pool.
Indoor pool. Going, oh. All right.
Uh-huh.
That's how we're going to do it here. You'll do well. You'll do well.
That's
And I think
fine.
the golf it's going to be very It's going to be very, very economical time-wise, the golf. I think you're going to be able to fly around.
Yeah. I just, from a time, I feel like I'll be able to get out and play golf maybe around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, but that's
because you're going to
perfect.
practice in the morning.
Yeah.
And availability will be right after.
You're gonna
Go
work
right into
after
our show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for our show, it's going to be pretty great because we're going to be coming right off the practice field.
Yeah. A
that'll be
lot of
pretty
live
cool.
at the podiums.
Yeah, those will be good. And then the yeah, so I think 5 o'clock, like you could whip out there and play a quick 9, grab a meal, and you're set. That'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, that's
When I remember, there were very few people playing in the afternoons like that, like 5 o'clock. Most people played early. So, like, I think when you guys are free, you're going to be able to take advantage.
and that's, I think about it and I go, all right, like, get up in the morning, get your work done, get practice in, show in, everything along those lines. Like, I'll eat when I eat.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not in a hurry to eat. I'd rather go play golf. I'd rather go get 9 holes in at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then I'll come back and eat. Like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that'll be that's going to be the way.
Maybe a little soak in the pool after.
Yeah.
Great. That's whatever. Like, we got 10 days. I've got 10 days.
Yeah, you do. You do well. You'll do well. Best free agent signing in NFL history, Reggie White, right?
I would think so.
I mean, when he left for the kids, he's on the all-time NFL defensive line, and I think he's the best free agent signing of all time. At the height of his powers, he left from Philly and went to Green Bay. Who am I missing?
Drew Brees.
Well, that was a quick one.
It's a good one.
No, I like that.
Was he? He was a. Somehow he was a true free agent.
Yeah, because
He was.
became available. Yeah.
So he was a
They
second
drafted
round
Phillip
pick.
Rivers.
Well, no, he was a second round pick, so that's how he became available that quickly. Because I want to say he was the first pick of the second round. Is that right?
He was.
Okay. The only thing I would say about Breeze, Paul, it's a great answer in terms of the foresight of it all. But at the time Breeze signed with the Saints, there wasn't anybody that thought he would be Drew Brees. Reggie White
True.
was fully formed when he signed with Green Bay. Like, there was you never see that. Like, superstar, height of their powers, changing teams with no compensation. You just never see that anymore. And that was, but it's a great one on Breeze. I mean, Breeze would be the other answer to that. Those two guys, and both those guys those two franchises don't win their Super Bowls without him, because Reggie was just the center of the Packers defense that won the Super Bowl in '96, and obviously Breeze won the Super Bowl beating the Colts.
Would you guys consider Peyton Manning? Yeah, I mean, he technically was a free agent, right? And
He
Tom
would have
Brady
to
as
be.
well.
Yeah, both of those guys would be. Yeah.
Who do they list for Denver?
Because they
Stand by.
cut Manning.
Right.
Denver was
Indy
Peyton
cut
Manning.
Yeah, Indy cut Manning.
Yep. The 49ers had Deion Sanders.
He was a true free agent. I don't know how he played out his contract in Atlanta in his prime, but he was only there 1 year. He was there in '94. They won it, and then he went to the Cowboys in
Maybe
'95.
his best season as a pro in 94.
Maybe the best season a cornerback has ever played in the history of the sport. He was Defensive Player of the Year, I want to say, in '94.
Yeah. Returned three pick sixes.
Yeah, he was on a whole nother level.
Obviously, Tampa Bay has Tom Brady.
Yeah. Brady and Manning kind of mirrored each other in that they delivered results almost immediately.
This is weird. The Titans, they've got DeAndre Hopkins. Is that it for them?
Well, it's hard because are they giving their Houston history too? Do they get all that? I suppose they do. Someone has that history. It might as well be them.
Looking up Houston now. Houston's got Arian Foster. So I don't know.
Ours is Lou the Toe.
Yeah. I was going to say, can you guess ours? Not so much. Undrafted rookie out of Ohio State.
Wow.
Undrafted.
Well, different era, man.
21 seasons with the Browns. A member of all 8 of the Browns' championship teams. 9-time Pro Bowler. 4-time All-Pro in the 50s. After a 1-year retirement, Groza returned to the Browns as a kicker in 1961. He led the NFL in field goal percentage twice while helping the Browns win the '64 title.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's very good.
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
I mean, wasn't the? I mean, you'd have to you and I were too young for this. You have to ask somebody like Tony or Pluto or somebody like that. But like the Andre Rison free agency, does that lead to the Browns leaving? Is that kind of the final nail in that, or did it contribute? Because there was always this, was that Medell didn't have the money to pay him the bonus, and that was like when it became known, I think, publicly. And again, this is very neophyte on me. I acknowledge. I won't pretend.
Bad moon rising.
But the theory was always that he didn't have the money to pay him, and so then it became kind of known, like, oh wow, Art doesn't have any money.
Yeah, it kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah,
I would say that.
Toner, one of those guys who was here at that time, would have a better. Jim would too.
Dallas had Tony Romo. I thought they drafted Tony Romo.
He was maybe undrafted.
Undrafted rookie. Rode the bench during his first 3 years in Dallas before he replaced Drew Bledsoe.
You could argue Deion Sanders for them too, because he signed there in '95. So he could have been on this.
See, they didn't even
times.
mention him. He beat out Jay Novacek. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right. I mean, that's fine. Indianapolis, the Colts had Johnny Unitas. It's a nice one.
Okay, that Groza, none of those should count.
Yeah, the Chiefs had Len Dawson.
Like when you say free agent, I think it should be like modern
day
era
free
agent, where it's like this is a guy whose contract was allowed to run out somewhere else, and you sign him to the deal.
How with the Chiefs? No Joe Montana? Because they didn't win anything
Or
with Joe?
did they trade him for him?
Maybe.
Or did they get him via free agency? Zagura would know for sure. I don't know if the Niners traded Joe or if he was a true free agent.
I mean, Dawson won the Chiefs a Super Bowl, so I guess.
But that's another one of those, like in that era, what was the draft? The draft really wasn't a big deal until the 80s that anybody had a clue what
Correct.
was going on with the draft.
Yeah. The Chiefs have a long history of successful free agent acquisitions, including the Honey Badger, Marcus Allen, Emmitt Smith, and Priest Holmes.
So he was traded. Joe was traded from San Francisco to Kansas City.
After being a backup, Len Dawson was a backup in Cleveland? After being a backup in Pittsburgh and Cleveland, Dawson signed with the AFL's Texans, renamed the Chiefs in 1962. Dawson won league MVP that year, leading Kansas City to his first of 3 AFL titles. Led the Chiefs also to a victory in Super Bowl IV.
Wow, this is pretty interesting on the Montana. So he was traded. He was traded the same, and they also signed free agent running back Marcus Allen that year in Kansas City. I didn't know this part of it. The Chiefs mailed 3 jerseys to Montana. One was a number 3, his number at Notre Dame, which the Chiefs had retired for Jan Stenerud, former Montana State Bobcat. Good job out of him.
Wow.
Stenerud allowed for him to wear it. Hall of Famer. Another was 19, which was a number he wore in youth football and briefly in training camp in '79. And the third was number 16, which Hall of Fame quarterback Len Dawson offered to let Montana wear since the organization had retired it. Montana declined Dawson and Stenerud's offers and wore 19 instead. There you go. I like
That's
it.
a look.
All right, we'll do a little higher lower coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You guys ready?
Check.
Yep.
You are up.
Do you think Rodgers is more? Do you think his run in New York is more Montana, Brady, Manning?
Probably Manning.
So Warren Sharp had some damaging stuff on him based on what his last season was. His big previews out, and he had some data on him that suggested that maybe he was worse off than statistically, but he was dealing with a wrist or something. I tend to be with you. I think he's more like Manning. I think he could have like a 4-year run, 3 of which are great.
Yeah.
I think he'd win an MVP.
He's got
there.
tons of weapons.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good support staff. I think he's got a good head coach.
Yeah.
I think that AFC East, I think we've talked about it. I think Buffalo's window is now or maybe tearing it down and starting over. Or not tearing it down around the quarterback.
There's going to be a second incarnation
Yeah.
of them. That's like the Chiefs did that and then won a Super Bowl while doing that.
Correct.
Which speaks to the talent of Mahomes and Kelsey and Reed and all of that operation.
I mean,
but
the Patriots are a
transitioned.
non-factor.
Oh no.
And
no.
I don't know what we don't know what the Dolphins are yet. They're a talented team. Can your quarterback stay on the field?
He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's a big part of that thing there. I think he'll have immediate success. I would be shocked if he wasn't really good right away. And I think he's motivated to be so too.
Yeah.
You're in one spot for that long.
At least for the first year. We'll see what happens after that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he could lose interest and then just go, I don't need to come back. I'm out. It's been a good run. I've done everything. I've made all the money I need to.
It does feel – there's like Favre is – obviously him and Favre are following the exact same career path. Favre that year with the Jets was pretty bad, and then he was great again in Minnesota.
Minnesota should have –
they were in an NFC Championship game, and he
should
threw
have
the
gone
pick
to the
that-
Super Bowl.
Yeah. So I'll be curious to see kind of how he goes. And they absolutely are. They're going to be right there in an AFC that's completely loaded. We'll do a high lower with the building blocks coming up tomorrow on the program. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Escape the
guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right, you are up. You got about 2 minutes.
And renew your home for the last time with my great friends at Renew Home Exteriors. Now we're introducing the new composite clad siding featuring a beautiful deep grained look of real wood in 20 available colors. Keep that just installed look for a lifetime with this low maintenance siding option. Right now, in fact, you can take advantage of no interest or payments for 24 months. Renew Home Exteriors. Superior products, superior service. Visit renewistimate.com for more on that. It's going to get here close. We got guys here on Wednesday. Quarterbacks are here, you said.
I feel like people are already starting to straggle in. I know. Just throw it down on the ground. You're fine. I'll have a garbage can for you tomorrow.
All right. Very good.
We'll get it done. We got the stream back up and running. Baby steps.
90.
Yeah, that's operation. So that's good. So we need one more camera here.
Yeah.
I think I figured out what to put. I think what you do there is you put like one of the NFL championships right there on that table.
I think I'm going to move the table, and I'm going to bring a sleeping bag and lay on the floor and work with my laptop. And see how long someone says something.
Not long. I don't think so. I don't think it'll be long. I think you walking up the stairs with a sleeping bag, and there's like a tranquilizer gun, frame taking you out.
Just gonna no, he's got a lot going on.
Like
we got to move a lot of people here over the course of the next
Omaha
few days.
in the old days when they were in the chopper with Marlon Perkins, they'd take the water buffalo out with the tranq gun.
Maybe we should bring the equipment manager of the year up here.
Well, I was surprised he wasn't prominently featured in the big teaser.
He was not in that day.
No. Oh, man.
He was supposed to be,
Oh,
and then
man.
had to leave last minute.
I mean, the pursuit
you don't
of-
have anything right
The
there.
Pursuit of Excellence. How can we give a Pursuit of Excellence award if he's not in the mix?
He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be in the mix.
Prominently
Jimmy
featured.
was fantastic.
They were very, very good. So that'll be fun tomorrow. We'll review that.
Yeah.
Will that
Maybe
happen?
we'll have some luminaries on.
Well, we have an article.
Be nice.
You know what'd be cool? Remember, that's back when we used to get all sorts of guys on here all the time when we'd have them sign. That was fun.
Boy, that helmet could tell some stories.
That helmet's it's back there.
It is.
I don't know if it's worth nothing because it's such an eclectic.
I mean, the Hoff
list.
signed it.
So did Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
And Freddie Kitchens.
Kareem
And
Hunt.
Jarvis Landry.
Gotta go.
Next level's next. Cleveland Runs Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You guys are down. Great show.